This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Chance Theater for their presentation of Dogfight. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Taylor Stevenson. I was the music director for Dogfight at the Chance Theater.
Yeah, I've interviewed you before. Actually, you did Bonnie and Clyde, and actually, both pieces I see are actually very edgy musicals.
Yeah, I did Bonnie and Clyde at Costa Mesa Playhouse, and they both, I think, kind of exist in the pop folk idiom of musical theater. This one, Dogfight, I think is probably more intricate and challenging than Bonnie and Clyde, but Bonnie and Clyde also has that kind of pop edge to it. So yeah.
Yeah. So is this what you look for? Because other people would try Mary Poppins or your Music Man. Would you rather do more like this, more challenging, more deep musicals?
Well, I always like challenging scores. I don't think that something older like Music Man, or I guess Mary Poppins is kind of contemporary, but it's written in an older style. I don't think that those are easy. They have their own challenges, and I enjoy working on those as well. But I seem to just kind of find my niche in more of the kind of pop, folk, rock idiom of music theater, and I'm not sure why that is. But I guess, I mean, it could be just my my generation. You know, I mean, I kind of grew up with that style, so.
Could you comment on the style of music of this musical Dogfight?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's it has a lot of references to other things, but at the same time makes itself its own piece, and I think that's what's so brilliant about it. It's really a very smart score. So it owes a lot to, say, Stephen Sondheim, who, if big musical theater buffs will obviously know Sondheim, but it manages to stay pretty contemporary and poppy, which helps, I think, please more of a younger, newer audience of the theater. But then at the same time, it's extremely intricate, and the way it's written is very, very smart. I don't want to get into too much detail I don't want to bore people, but just the way that they develop kind of the musical themes throughout the show and the way they use them is really smart. And I have to say, actually, lyrically, this show is so good. It can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, I know. So there was a lot of jazz in it also. Or maybe syncopated rhythms?
There's a lot of syncopated rhythms, yeah. I don't know that I would classify it as jazz, but it does have a lot of syncopation, a lot of meter shifts. So I think in that sense it maybe owes more to the kind of like progressive rock movement, though they aren't unrelated.
Yeah, I'm surprised because this was dated in the 1960s. You didn't have more 60s music.
I'm not sure why that is, except that I think the writers wanted to establish more their own language for telling this story. And they don't call upon the 60s references much. They do a little bit in the kind of party scene in Act 1, but that's the most they ever give you, and it's definitely on purpose. And I think they try to gesture more towards the folk idea, but keep it more of a contemporary folk. And I don't think I think it works really well. I don't think it's. I don't think it hurts the musical that it doesn't exist more in that style.
Yeah. Okay. Well, once again, I love the music because this is a musical. I love the acting. It was a very strong drama, but the music, I because I've never seen this performance before, but actually the music was actually very good.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good music, and I'm not one that always is a fan of contemporary scores. So I think this is definitely a good score.
Well, thank you once again for being on the show, and again, once again, I love this.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Ashley Arlene Nelson. This is my fourth show here at the Chance, but I've been doing theater since I was itty bitty teeny tiny. I recently just graduated from UCI with my bachelor's in drama, and yeah, I'm super excited to be part of the show. I played Rose Fenny. She's kind of this like homey, awkward folk player, guitar waitress girl, says the awkward actress who played her, and she spent her whole life kind of sheltered and kind of with this ideal view of the world, and this boy walks in and completely changes her entire life. She has to kind of grow up in the span of a few hours, but realizes that she can also then do some good and help change him as well.
I really loved your character. I mean, I really loved it.
Oh, thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
It had so much depth to it. It had darkness. It actually had parts of romance in there, but it also, again, it was such a complex character.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the toughest roles I've had to play because there are so many levels to her. She isn't just a one kind of sided girl. She's got a real deep-seated hurt that she has to deal with. This guy that she suddenly has feelings for, and then, you know, war, and just there's a lot going on in the time period and also in her life, and there was just a lot to kind of process and discover as an actress playing her.
I actually once seen you in another play. I believe it was Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that character is also a very dark character, kind of criminal and all that. Do you purposely go out there and find very challenging roles that other people don't look for?
I love musical theater, but I do prefer musicals that have a lot of substance, a lot of depth to them. I like bringing complicated characters to life because I like the challenge. I don't want to just have to go out and sing and dance. I really would like to be able to delve into emotion and really tell stories. And the characters I tend to be cast and tend to have a little bit of a darker side to them, which is always really interesting to explore.
Also, one compliment I give you: you fantastic singing voice.
Thank you very much.
Question: what type of? This was a jazz type. Is that? Was it very challenging?
I actually grew up doing contemporary, like more folky country pop music, and didn't get more into like classical musical theater singing until later in my life. So anytime I get the chance to do a musical that has that little bit more of that kind of jazzy folk sound to it is always really exciting because I feel more at home in that voice. So it was really fun.
Yeah. Once again, I loved your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Andrew Puente. I'm a recent graduate of Cal State Long Beach's theater department. I'm currently in Dogfight at the Chance Theater. This is my third show at the Chance. I was also in The Heights and After the Revolution. I've only been doing theater the last couple of years since I was like 17. I started in high school. I fell in love with it. Started doing film and TV and auditioning and doing a lot of theater. And I only started doing musical theater about a year and a half ago, but I fell in love with it too and just kept coming back. Especially with the Chance, because I just became a recent company member here as a Chance Fellow, and so I'm just really excited to be here.
And which character did you play?
Eddie Birdlace. Eddie is a Marine on his way to Vietnam in the 1960s. The play takes place in two time periods. It takes place in 1963 and 1967. 63 is where the show mostly takes place. It mostly takes place during a flashback of Eddie on his last night before being shipped off to Vietnam with his buddies, and they're throwing a dogfight, which is an event where all the Marines try to get the ugliest date and bring them to a party, and whoever has the ugliest date wins the money that they all put in at the beginning of the night. And so that's kind of like where most of the show takes place for him, and he's kind of he's a bit egotistical, very full of himself, and he's all about his brothers and about the other Marines. Doesn't treat women in a very positive or human way until he meets Rose, and she kind of changes him in a really profound way.
Yeah, you know, usually I don't like leading men. I think they're basically just playing themselves, but I really loved the way you played this. I really loved it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Basically, I think you almost kind of represented the way people looked at military, even the way people look at men, right before the Vietnam War and then afterwards. It was such a big swing.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely one of those things that I worked with Matt, our director, a lot on, and trying to kind of showcase the differences, mostly physically, because there's not a lot said when I play Eddie in 67, and so it's mostly just trying to find the physical differences and the ways that he's changed over time, and the way that Rose has changed him.
Actually, you and I have met before. Again, I covered you before.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised at how good of a singer you are.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been working. Our music director Taylor has been a godsend. He's been fantastic and helping me with a lot of the stuff that I don't have a lot of music knowledge, and so he's been kind of coaching me on like technique and those kinds of things to make sure that it all sounds halfway decent compared to Ashley, who's coming out here and she's amazing. She's got like such great ear for this stuff, and it just comes so naturally to her. So I'm just trying to push myself to get up to that level.
You're a really late bloomer then. If you didn't start acting until you were in high school, and also you haven't started singing. I mean, you're actually a very good singer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it was a little. I was a little nervous to start, but it was one of those things that I was like, I've always wanted to do it. I might as well take a chance, and if it goes over well, it goes over well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. My first musical was actually here when I did it in the Heights. I was Usnavi's understudy, and so I rapped through the whole show, and that was like my first kind of like toe in the door to musical theater, and then I fell in love with it and kept coming back.
Actually, I'm always thinking about trying to define what an artist is. Do you think you were different when you were younger, or did you kind of learn how to do this through training?
I think when I started, I thought at the time I had a very good understanding of what I was doing, and like going and getting training and going to Long Beach Theater Department, which is fantastic, taught me so much about how much I didn't actually know. And so I think art is definitely very much something that you can learn, or that you should learn. It's not something that like a lot of people think that it's like, it's one of those things that you just got it or you don't. And I think that anybody can train, and like working hard at finding their voice, whatever medium that they're exploring. I think that's really the most important thing. And then if you can work on that and fine tune, whatever technique that you may need, if it's painting, singing, drawing, whatever it may be, you can definitely learn how to be an artist.
Okay. Well, once again, I loved your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Of course, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
James McHale. Yeah, I play Boland in this show and Dogfight at the Chance, and I'm a resident artist at Chance Theater. And I went to Cal State Long Beach. I got my acting degree there. Worked with the Actors Center in New York, so I've studied at a couple different conservatories, and I've been here at the Chance for a couple years now, and primarily work out of Orange County. I play Boland. Boland is one of the 3 Bs, so he's one of the 3 best friends that are Marines fresh out of basic training, and they're getting ready to head to Okinawa and eventually to Vietnam, and he is kind of one of the alphas of the group, and he's the guy that really tries to keep the Marines together. He really cares about the bond that they have and the commitment to each other. And so he's the guy that's the tough love guy, that anytime somebody starts to kind of get out of line, he's pulling them right back in. And so they go to a ceremonial party that they always have called the Dogfight, which is bring the ugliest girl you can, and the one that with the ugliest one wins the pot of money that everyone's put into.
I'm a big fan of villains and anti-heroes, and I thought your character was actually a very good anti-hero.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a huge fan of kind of playing those kind of roles. The roles that are, on the surface seem like, they're the villain, they're the bad guy. And I always like kind of digging into those roles because no one ever thinks of themselves as bad guys, right? And finding what makes them tick and why are they different. And yeah, they're confrontational and they're sometimes do things that seem like, that guy's a total jerk. But they do it for a reason. And I think in this particular case, Boland really cares about his buddies, really cares about the Marines, but he's one of those guys that's like, you're either in my pack and I care about you, and if you're not in my pack, then F you. You know what I mean? And so he really only just cares about his buddies. And because of that, sometimes he is a bit of a jerk, and he is sometimes fulfills that kind of antagonist, maybe villain role. But ultimately, I think it's not black and white, so I really get and enjoy finding, some of the cracks under the mask. Boland's a guy that has a lot of bravado, and Marine, and he's from Texas, and so that adds to the bravado. And I've enjoyed being able to find like where the mask comes off, and there's a little fear revealed about what they're going to have to do and where they're going to be going into war. And the love for his buddies, and just so finding moments where that can kind of crack through, I think is really interesting.
Yeah, actually, it's very interesting how it worked between you and the hero, because the hero really wasn't a hero, the villain really wasn't. You actually did the most noblest thing. You actually died, and actually, you kind of kept it together. You were almost a hero when you think about it. If it were written a little different.
I guess that's kind of true, right? Boland does. He does ultimately, when it comes down to it, when they're in war, he dies for one of his friends, one of his best friends. So he really does, put his money where his mouth is. But yeah, he's just not the kindest person maybe in the world, right? So I think that's kind of unique about this play, is that there aren't perfect black and white. This is the good guy, this is the bad guy. There's a lot more gray, and I think that's much more interesting.
Okay. Well, once again, I love your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Kim Dalton. I played Marcy in Dogfight at the Chance Theater. I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I lived there for 18 years, and then I moved to LA to go to the USC School of Dramatic Arts, and I graduated from that in 2014, and now I'm here. I just never left. I play Marcy, who is the toothless prostitute. Marcy is a lady of the night, and she has the unique position of being the only woman in the whole cast who knows the rules of the dogfight immediately. She is hired by Boland, one of the Marines, as a kind of ringer in order to win the dogfight because she doesn't have any teeth. So she and Boland agree to attend this dogfight together under the assumption that when they win, they will split the money 50-50. Of course, once they do win, he tries to cheat her out of her money, and she gets mad at him and then ends up spilling the beans of the dogfight to Rose.
I've always loved strong female characters in theater, and the theater usually has strong female characters. This one didn't treat women that well, but your character was actually a very strong one.
Oh yeah, my character is completely strong, which is kind of awesome considering the tone of the show is very misogynistic, and the period of the early 1960s wasn't the kindest towards women. But what I like about Marcy is that she's really kind of a feminist, I think, in that she doesn't allow any of the men to disrespect her, and she refuses to be boxed in by any of the limitations that the other women face. She's an opportunist, and she's a survivor, and she knows how to play the game.
Yeah. I also think she was the most intelligent person in the entire group.
She's absolutely very intelligent. I think, it's like no matter what, Marcy is still going to get by, which I think is very cool. And she definitely can get a read on anyone in a second, and she always, I think she likes to be the smartest person in the room. She likes to be in control, and I like that too.
And one more compliment, I really liked your singing voice too.
Thank you. I get the opportunity to sing what I think is probably one of the most fun numbers in the show, which is Dogfight, which is my duet with Rose, and it's pretty much like 4 solid minutes of high belting and very high energy, and it's sort of like the really only kind of girl power moment in the show, which I really like to get to share every night.
Actually, I've been to a couple of big performances. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm not here at opening night is because I was invited to like 8 openings.
Oh wow, you're very in demand.
Well, actually, the thing about it is there was a lot of big shows going out. There was actually like 3 shows that had huge casts and 3 orchestras. So I'm surprised they managed to get the talent that you guys got from this cast.
Yeah. Well, I think what really drew the cast is that, I knew about the musical Dogfight, and I followed it back in 2012 because the off-Broadway cast actually actually had like 2 people from Southern California who were playing Rose and Birdlace. So, but yeah, it's very much kind of like a cult musical theater thing. And so the minute I heard that it was doing its LA OC premiere, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to come audition for this. And I feel like a lot of people felt that similarly. Actually, I missed the first round of auditions. I was on vacation, and so they cast the entire show except for Marcy. They couldn't find Marcy, and I was so sad that I missed the audition, because I was like, oh man, I would love to play Marcy, but you know, it's just not meant to be because I'm not in town. And then I saw that they were doing another round of emergency auditions just for Marcy, just for the role I ended up getting. And I, naively thought in that conceited actor way, oh, maybe they didn't cast it because I wasn't there. It's like they didn't see me, which is why they couldn't do it. And in some insane way, that actually ended up being true. So it was very fortuitous. I'm very lucky to be here. I was literally the last person cast.
Well, you did fantastic. I loved your character. I loved your singing. I loved everything about the show.
That is so great to hear. Thank you so much for coming and supporting live theater.
Yeah, actually, of the shows that I've seen some big ones. Story-wise, this is probably the best one of the ones that I've seen during the Valentine's Day weekend.
That's great. And it's funny because it's kind of a little bit of an anti-Valentine's Day show. I mean, not really. It comes around to it, but it has a lot of, it can be a little hard to watch sometimes, but I think it's very moving, and it's very delicate, and it has a lot to say about men and women, about brotherhood, about how we treat our veterans. And I think even though it's set in the early 1960s, I still think that there's a lot of relevance today.
Well, once again, I loved your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
David Shawshik. I'm a second year at UC Irvine right now, studying musical theater and mathematics. I'm double majoring. This is my Orange County premiere in doing professional theater, and I'm extremely excited to be here. It's a great show. I played Stevens. Stevens is one of the ensemble Marines, and he's kind of pretty much a backup for the 3Bs.
So what do you think about the performance?
The performance, it's great. It gets better and better every night. We have a great cast who's really tuned into each other, and we find the little moments, and every night we find something new. And so the show, even though it's the same, we bring a different energy to it every time we perform.
Yeah. I like the way the ensemble worked, the way they danced, the way they actually sang together. It was actually great singing, great dancing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was our choreographer, Angeline Miranda, who's amazing, by the way. She's a world-class dancer, first of all, and she understood that this musical is not a dance musical, and that none of the men are dancers at all. So she made the choreography extremely simple, but also perfect in the sense that it was very militaristic, yet also had passion and fun in it.
Well, once again, I love the performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Cassandra Wright. I am 22 years old. I've just graduated college, and I'm moving on to bigger and better things. And this is my first professional production here at the Chance Theater. I play Mama, and I'm also ensemble. As Mama, I'm Rose's mother, the main character's mom, and I'm the person who helps guide her through her life, and I've sheltered her most of her life, and that's how in the story she finds this new guy, and she doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't have all these experiences, and I feel that I've sheltered her, but at the same time I'm protecting her because with my own backstory I've come up with, I'm just trying to shield her from the things that could possibly happen to her that might have happened to me as well.
Yeah, I actually liked the work of the ensemble. All the characters. I didn't think there was one weak link in the entire group.
Thank you, that's really nice.
Yeah, plus the way you guys interacted together as in singing and dancing, it was actually very well done. And even moving the prop, because that was a very small stage.
Yeah, the cast has a really great chemistry with each other. We all got casted very well with our dates to the party and our other characters that we play with each other in the show, and I think it was greatly put together.
Okay, once again, I love the performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Dogfight will be playing at the Chance Theater from February 5th to March 6th. For more information, go to www.chancetheater.com or theorangecurtainrev.com.